Hello, welcome to episode 85 of the Craft House Magic podcast. My name's Ellie and I'm coming to you from Norwich in Norfolk in the UK, and today's the 26th of September. So welcome everybody. I hope you've all had a lovely crafty week since the last time I've spoken to you, and I'm here to share all the things that I've been making in the last 7 days. So you can find me on Instagram, Ravelry and Facebook as Craft House Magic, and I have my own website crafthousemagik.co.uk where you can find the show notes for the podcast, so all the links to the things that I talk about, as well as my online shop where I sell my hand-dyed yarn, handmade project bags and stitch markers, etc. So today I have some knitting, some crochet, some sewing, some confessions and some information on my shop update, which is every Friday at 7 PM. So we have Barbara's Day Out, which is the Norwich sort of knit and natter meetup, which will be on the 6th of October at the Nelson's Hotel from 12 till 3. If you want to come, if you pop over to the Ravelry group and just pop a message just to say that you're coming, just so I know how many people are going to be coming to the meetup, so that we know how many table seats to book. Table seats? How many people to book the table for, so that we can sort of sit and have a chat and lovely. There is sort of main meals or snacks available if you want them, but of course if you don't want that you can just sit and have a drink and chat with us, that'd be lovely. So we have 3 craft alongs going on at the moment, all over in the Ravelry group. So there are separate threads for all these groups. So if you want to know the details of each of the craft alongs, if you pop over to the Ravelry groups, you'll be able to find those. But in brief, we have the country garden knit along, which is basically all my patterns that I've introduced that have been country garden themed. So and a pair of socks, a cowl, a berry and some pet mittens. So anybody who's knitting any of those, pop over to the Ravelry group and come and share what you've been knitting, and I will be drawing for prizes for all of these craft alongs, so make sure that you enter in the discussion thread and the finished objects thread, because there will be prizes drawn from both. We have the festive craft along, which we're making things for the festive season, but also gifts as well. So any of those, pop over to the Ravelry group for. That's till the 1st of January. And then lastly, we have the Halloween craft along, which is knitting and crochet items in the Halloween theme. And that runs until the end of, no, not the end of November, the 1st of November. So I am planning on picking up my country garden socks so that I can sort of knit along with you guys, because I've got 2 single socks of the country garden pattern that I've started. I have got a finished pair, but I started another 2 pairs as well. So I'll be knitting those. I need to start thinking about what I'm going to be knitting as gifts for Christmas now, really, so that I can get them all finished before we get to the month of December, really, so I can concentrate on the sort of Advent season. I love that. And for the Halloween craft along, I'm also going to be casting on some of my Halloween yarn, but I haven't quite decided what project to start yet, but I know which yarn I'm going to cast on, but you shall soon see what I'm going to be making in probably the next episode. So let's start with the knitting. So knitting wise, I've been mainly focusing on my antler cardigan. So last week I said I'd get a sleeve done by the next episode, and I have. There's a sleeve. But not just one sleeve, I have nearly 2 sleeves, so 1 3/4 sleeves. You can see how far I've got. I've obviously got about that far to knit on the second sleeve there, but I'm getting on with them nicely. And I've actually been using the stitch markers that I've been trying out that have got numbers on, to sort of mark things off when you're doing repeats. It's nice to have the numbers so that you don't have to sort of count all the time. And this is where I've been increasing along the arm. I've actually stuck to the pattern with the increases, and I kept trying it on just to make sure that it fit nicely, and I'm really pleased with how it's fitting. So again, it's the Antler Cardigan by Tin Can Knits, and the yarn I'm using is Living on a Prayer, and it's on a new base that I haven't actually got in the shop yet. It's an Aran weight merino with Donegal neps in, and you can see the little different colours of neps all the way up the arm. I've been really naughty. I haven't actually been alternating skeins for this cardigan, mainly because it's actually going to be a cardigan that I wear a lot inside the house because it's quite a thick, chunky cardigan. So I thought, you know, I can't be dealing with multiple balls of yarn going everywhere. So you can see how long the arm is. I've actually done this an inch shorter than the actual pattern said, just because my arms are a little bit shorter and I wanted them to fit, and I like them just to hit there really, rather than going too far over my wrists and onto my hands. On previous episode I've shown that I've actually done sort of the main body, it's bottom up, and after I've finished that rest of that sleeve, I'll be joining those arms onto the rest of the body, so I can start with the exciting cable bit around the neck. So the antler cardigan has got antler shaped cables all the way around the neck, and then I've got to obviously do the neck band and the front bands, and then it'll be done. So you never know, I might actually get the cables done by the next episode. This is my target. I'm setting myself targets lately and it's been working, so I'm going to do the same again. Although I've started a cowl, so I'll show you that in a bit, which might be taking some of my time up. But anyway, that's my antler cardigan, and the only other knitting project I've actually been working on is my Cozy Memories blanket, and I only actually managed to do one square, and it's this one, and I'd actually started it on the last episode, and this square is knitted out of a Beaker Button yarn, and it's a pink and grey, and actually I think I did this one over here is also Beaker Button, and they were sort of very similar colourways if you look closely. But I thought they actually went quite well together. So I'm 6 squares into my row of 12, and then I shall be finishing the row. I do like to finish a row, it's a bit sad, isn't it? So if you want to find, I've got a tutorial for the Cozy Memories blanket, which I will leave links to in the show notes if anybody's interested in that. So that's all my knitting. I have done some crochet this week. So this is a new project. So lovely Sandra from Cherry Heart Podcast has designed a beautiful blanket, and it's called the Nature's Walk blanket. So I have started my Nature's Walk blanket. So Sandra from the Cherry Heart Podcast has released this beautiful, beautiful pattern, and Black Sheep Wools were doing a kit. So I decided I need to buy the kit because 1, the yarn is beautiful, and 2, if you bought the kit you got 6 other squares. So the pattern is free, but if you buy the kit you do get those extra 6 blocks, but if you don't buy the kit you can actually get them in the new year, I think, for free of charge. But I thought it would be exciting. It'd be so exciting to actually have be part of the crochet along. So I'm collecting all the colours here together so I can show you. So there are 7 colours, I think they're all there. And originally these were slightly different on the original pattern, but Black Sheep Wools had run out of a couple of the colours. So this pink one here, the lighter of the purples, which is this one, has changed slightly, and also the creamy one. I don't mind the changes for the purple and the cream, but actually when I saw the bright pink in real life I decided that I do like this colour, but I think that a lighter pink would go. So I did actually find on another website that I could get hold of the original paler pink colourway that was supposed to be in the original design, and I've ordered some of those in replacement to this one. But I have made a start. So the actual kit came a little bit late. I think the crochet along started on Tuesday and it didn't arrive till Wednesday. So last night, Wednesday night, I was able to knit up a swatch just to make sure that the size was correct. So this was in the Getting Started PDF document, and this has got some beautiful little hearts on, and I'm loving how this yarn is working, and with this pattern as well. It's not showing up very well, is it? Let's get a page of my notebook so that you can see the pattern a bit more. I think that's probably a little bit clearer. So absolutely love this. It's supposed to be 16 centimetres wide, and that came on spot on. I obviously haven't blocked it yet, but I think it's looking okay so far. Really enjoying the feel of the yarn. So it's a cotton yarn with some acrylic in it. Let's look at what the percentage is. It is 78% cotton and 22% acrylic, and that's Sheepy's stone washed. And normally I've only really worked with like 100% cotton, and this has come up a lot softer, I think, because of the percentage of acrylic in there. Really nice feel to it. And I just love the way that it's sort of a mottled colour rather than a solid colour. loving how this is looking, so I'm really excited to see how the blanket's going to turn out. So that was the test swatch pattern. And then there's the gate, I think it's called the gate. If I'm wrong, I'll pop it on the screen. This is the gate square, and it's done in the grey. So the grey is called, oh, it just says 802 on this one. I think there is a name for it, but for the actual band of the yarn it doesn't actually say. Well, I haven't finished it quite yet. I've just started another round there, and you can see that there's a sort of nice lace gate sort of shape pattern in there, and I'm supposed to do 4 of these, I think. And I love this grey actually. It's fascinating how much more enjoyable it is to actually crochet with compared to how it looks in the little skein. Really lovely, sort of a silvery grey colour, so I'm loving that. So I now have 1.5 squares done towards my blanket. I'll have to work out how many squares I need to do over the weekend so that I can keep up with the crochet along. So I'm really enjoying that. So next is the sewing section. So last week I mentioned about making my own sanitary towels. Now I've always used disposable sanitary towels, but recently I've really become concerned about how much of this sort of waste is going into landfill. So I thought I need to do something about that and try and make my own. I think to start with I thought that the handmade sewn reusable sanitary towels might be a bit gross to use, but actually if you look into it and see what sort of system that people have for carrying sanitary towels around with them, and the way they have a special bag to put them in when they've been used, or they can be rinsed under the tap straight away, or some people put them in a plastic zippable bag which is sort of sealed so that there's no smells coming out of there at all, and then sort of rinse them in cold water all at once. Or actually I did see that somebody suggested putting them all in a cold rinse in the washing machine, which was good because then you don't have to have sort of a horrible bowl of water in the house really. So washing him on the cool wash in the washing machine I think is a brilliant idea. So I've been looking out for several tutorials on how to do these, and I've come up with the way that I decided to do it. So this is how my first set looks like. So I actually based this on a bodyform sanitary towel, and I actually cut the packaging on the back of it so that I can actually use it as a template, but then use it as a proper sanitary towel as well afterwards, because I felt like this was wasteful. So I got one of the bodyform, one of my favourite shapes, and the back of it has got like packaging that once you take that off it's then sticky underneath. So I cut around it so that I could then open it up without that packaging getting in the way, and then I cut the piece of papery plastic that sticks on the back of the wings as well in half so that I don't take the sticky off, and then I can actually use it afterwards rather than it being completely wasteful. I suppose it's going to be a pattern anyway, so it's fine. So I opened it up like this, and then I drew around it on an A4 sheet of paper. So there we go, I drew around it on an A4 sheet of paper. I'll put this up against it so you can see what I did. So I decided that because the wings needed to be closed by press studs, these needed to be a little bit longer. So I extended each of the wings about 1 inch, and then I actually curved the shape in a little bit so it wasn't so bulky. And this is what I've come up with. If anybody wants me to share this pattern, if you email me on Craft House Magic, I shall photocopy the shape of it and send it to you if you wanted that. So that's from a bodyform, I think it's a medium protection with wings. So I can send this to you to save you having to make the pattern out. So I folded the wings in so I could see the size of the sort of centre panel. Then I traced this, and I actually did another template which was ½ inch smaller all the way around so that that could be my absorbable material that goes inside. Now I didn't actually make any seam allowances for this because I thought that the original there's like a bit around the edge which doesn't absorb anyway, so I thought that sort of quarter of an inch, that can account for that. That'll be fine. So then I had my 2 pattern pieces. So this one I have layered 100% cotton fabric, and it's got a cute little butterfly and dragon print on there, and I layered that up with a central piece of Zorb, which is an extra absorbent wadding material. You can actually use like a cotton toweling material inside, but I don't think it's quite as absorbent, and I thought I'd give this Zorb a bit of a go. So there's a piece of Zorb inside there, and then I've backed it with some fleece I had just hanging around in my stash. So this is quite a thick fleece. The purpose of the fleece is, one, to give you a little bit of extra absorbency, but also it holds on to your underwear so that it doesn't move around. And then I've assembled this by layering up the Zorb onto the fleece fabric, and I zigzag stitched all the way around, and you can just about see where I've zigzag stitched that onto the fleece. And then I layered the cotton material up with the fleece with the Zorb attached to it, right sides together. Then I stitched a 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way around, apart from a small section which I left open in order to turn it the right way. Before I turned it the right way, I did snip round these curved edges so that it would turn and lay neatly more easily. So when I turned it the right way, I give it a press and then top stitched it 1/8 of an inch from the edge, and then I basically had this panel, and then I've just added some press studs there. So what I did is I just folded the sort of wings in and decided where I wanted the press stud. So I thought I wanted this to be a little bit narrower so that it just go in very slightly in that area so that it would fit my underwear well. If you do want me to do a mini tutorial on how I've done this, I'm happy to do that if you pop a comment in the down bar. But I will link in the show notes a few of the tutorials that I found really useful. Now, to start with, I was a bit concerned about which layers do I use. So I decided to use just a cotton top layer because I thought that that would be nice and comfortable next to the skin. But sometimes people use sort of sports materials that draw away moisture, but I think quite a few people have used the cotton, and I think that that'll be okay for me. I will try these out and let you know how I get on, and if I make some more I'll let you know any modifications. Obviously I haven't used these yet. Other people have used a material called PUL or pull between these layers, and PUL stands for polyurethane laminate, and it's a material that's been developed for hospitals to use so that it's actually waterproof but also breathable. So obviously that would stop any blood from seeping through into the bottom layer, but also it's breathable as well, so it makes it more comfortable. I decided not to use that after watching quite a few videos because I've got quite a thick layer of Zorb in there as well as the fleece, so I think that that'll be okay. I'm going to try it out and let you know how I got on, but a few of the ladies said that actually you only really need the PUL if you sort of are a very sort of heavy bleeder really, and tend to get a lot of leakage on the normal sanitary towels. So I do advise you, if you are going to make these, if you watch some of the other videos that I put links to, there are lots of really interesting points that you can pick up off these tutorials. So next I also have some further sewing. So last weekend on Saturday we'd organised a workshop for our local quilt group, and a lovely lady called Helen Butcher, or Little Patch Pockets she's also known as, did a class on how you make this beautiful foundation piece to block. Now I made a start, but due to lots of talking I didn't get loads done. but I shall show you how much I've got done so far. So I've done one full wedge, which has got a few different colours of fabrics in. I chose sort of tealy bluey greens, which kind of goes with this colour scheme here. Quite a lot of fabric in that colour, and then I started on a second block, but there are several more to make up the final finished block in the end. And like I say, it's supposed to be look like something like this in the end. I will leave links in the show notes to Helen's website. She does classes where you can get her to come to your local group and do a class for a few of you. She was a wonderful teacher actually. I really enjoyed the class, and it was broken down really nicely and understandably, and there was quite a few people there who hadn't done a lot of foundation piecing before, so it was nice to see them really getting encouraged by getting on really well with the block. Now, because Helen had come, she brought some of her things that she'd got for sale. So I'm going to smoothly move into confession section and show you what I bought. So she'd got three, well actually she had more than this, but I picked up three patterns that she'd got for sale. So these are all quilting patterns, and they're for 20-inch blocks. So that they're sort of wall hangings really. So this one I thought is called Treasured Boxes Patchwork Panel, and they have got these amazing 3D boxes. So I thought that would be really cool to have as a wall hanging in the house. And there was another sort of 3D pattern for the Impossible Grid. I thought that was brilliant. I think she has these for sale on her website, I'm not sure. But I'm sure if you contacted her you could purchase them if you wanted to, or if you don't see her at a show. There's another one called Box Section, I think it's called, yep. And that looks really cool as well. And I thought that these sort of set of three would appeal to Adam for having around the house, you see, because he likes sort of 3D things. So we have three patterns, and I might have bought some more fabric. So she got these packs of oak shot fabrics, and they're beautiful. So they're woven from thread that's been dyed already, which I thought was really interesting. It does mean that they fray quite a bit, but I think that they will make a lovely project. And they're sort of muted midtones and darker colours as well, so lovely. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fat quarters in there. So there's quite a bit for me to be making some sort of design with. I might use them for the patterns that I picked up. I don't know yet. We'll see. So I think that's all for confessions. Yes, haven't been too bad. If somebody comes to visit with a stall of loveliness, I have to buy something. Be rude not to. So just some information on my shop update. So like I said, I will be putting up some sets of these numbered progress keepers into the shop. So they're numbered 0 to 9, so you could, if you say you did sort of 10 increases, you could put a 1 and a 0 next to each other to mark 10, or 1 and a 9, etc. If you did want to sort of mark large numbers, I suggest you sort of purchase 2 sets, but I think that 1 set is good enough for this sort of marking increases on the side of a sleeve, for instance. And you could sort of take off the bottom ones once you've got so far up the sleeve. So those will be going in the shop this week, 7 o'clock, Friday the 27th of September. I have to check the date there. So all the advent calendars I am working on finishing dyeing those up and packaging up this week, and it'll be next week till I finish them, I think. So they should be all posted by the end of next week, so that they'll be on its way to you, so that even if you live in America they'll get to you in plenty of time for the December advent season. So that's all for this week. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more, and I shall see you in the next episode. Bye!